So we know that young adults move out, and we know that's healthy. As parents, it's a time of fraught with a lot of feelings, because special kids means special love, means special attachment, means it's hard to let go, but we know it needs to happen. And there's research. Some of you know it already from personal experience, but I would just mention some of the findings from research is that individuals who separate and move out, special needs individuals, are found to have enhanced resilience, increased ability to initiate activities, increased ability to assist others, and on various scales of happiness, greater happiness. And families can come to have a sense of pride in their adult child's independence and appreciation of their child's new relationships, the new friends that they have. So moving out, and if you're in the pre-planning stage, it's some emotional work to do to get used to the idea that you're going to have a lot of emotions stirred up, to think of your young adult or middle-aged adult, moving on in their lives, and maybe facing empty nest. So that's part of moving out. It can be some feelings of sadness, but lots of feelings of hope. It's a direction that we all want to see our kids grow towards. Next slide, please. Our role with you and in the community is to try to develop and offer a spectrum of options. As I mentioned in the beginning remarks, we want to look at this as customizing solutions. You're here because you want solutions for housing for your adults. And we feel that there can be a number of different solutions. None of them are going to be super easy, partially because, as Scott pointed out, and as many of you know, because of the reduced funding that's available. But one of the options are group homes. And for those of you who want to find out more about group homes, please contact us. Please come and visit our group homes. We have 3 group homes currently. They're full. There's 6 residents each. We have a 4th group home that we hope to renovate and open for occupancy sometime in the near future. And we conceivably could operate more group homes if folks want to buy them. So put $500,000 together, and you can hire Etta Israel to come and run the group homes so that they'll be run professionally. But tonight we're more focused on the options around supported apartment living. Any of you who participated in full inclusion in the educational process, I would say you could think of JCHI as like an inclusion specialist or a case manager for your son or daughter. The right specialist can really dramatically improve solutions. Now, we have a lot to bring to the table, but JCHI is not meant to be a turnkey operation where you go through our admissions process, fill out your application, agree to pay certain fees, and your son or daughter moves into an apartment and you're done. Because again, our vision is to build community. Our vision is to engage you as parents and as family members in the ongoing development of what the life is going to look like. We would expect to have a parent council and a residence council. And a very important goal is the empowerment of the residents to feel that it's their own community. Next slide, please. Oh, you're there. So we envision that JCHI residents will have control over their own lives. It's a very important quality. Professional staff will obviously help titrate that, work with that, assist them through participating in community. But this word communication, I think, is so key. We've learned so much about how people with special needs can truly communicate. It's one of the great, almost paradoxes that at first, for those who are not experienced with special needs, tend to look at individuals with special needs as people that don't communicate very well. And as all of us have come to know, there's quite a bit of skill and eloquence once you learn how to understand the expressiveness of people with special needs. So there's communication that will take place in the community, between the community and the resident, between the resident and the family, between the professional staff, and all of the above. Towards a goal of empowerment and independence. We're trying to forestall what I've seen many times in my career, that you get to be 35 or 40 or 45, a person with special needs, and you're isolated and depression sets in, especially as family members are less available to be part of your life. So we think that it's proactive to create community. It's proactive to have lots of communication and goal setting. It's important to have a sense of empowerment. And again, what makes us distinct and why we're here in this building, in this meeting with this agency, is that we want to share our Jewish values and give our kids the opportunity to have a Jewish expressiveness in their lives. Next slide, please. So we envision these as benefits of J-Chai. And these will be established by formalized planning, individual program plans for each resident, and also a separate individual Jewish program plan for each. We set goals, basically. Sit down as family members, a circle of support, the loved ones, the professionals who are involved, siblings, and set goals. And then our case management team helps to see that those goals are being worked on. And so benefits would include personal development, Jewish involvement with community and peers, parental peace of mind that Marilyn spoke about, ensuring that regional center services can be managed in a compatible way with Jewish issues. An example of that would be, we have in our group homes observance of Shabbat. So, no problem from regional center. Why should there be? It's what the residents want to do. But it took a lot of finesse, it took a lot of communication in the early years to help the regional center to understand that it was acceptable. We feel that you as parents and the residents themselves are going to want something that's safe and professional and Jewish, and you will have the peace of mind that little things that come up, daily life, which you as parents monitor now. I know the families that are involved with their kids in apartments currently oftentimes have these duties of lost an apartment key, or missed an appointment, or transportation didn't show up, and you are Johnny on the spot to make that work. So we would take that responsibility off your shoulders, and we would also be available on a 24/7 basis for any emergencies that come up. We'd help with medical appointments, dental appointments, all of the work that parents do. But we think it's the correct thing in development, in the building of an adult personality, to shift away from parents doing that work to having others do that work. Next slide, please. So J-Chai will do the following things. And this, I can envision it. I don't know if I can express it properly in language to you. I've been living with this for 2 years. In looking at other programs and thinking it through. So maybe you have to take my word for it. But we see that all this will be a building block. When we have our first 2 residents, and 2 lucky people here will get the first 2 spots, and then we have 4 residents, and 6, and 8, and 10. By the time we get to our second year, it's going to look very different than our first year. So we need some pioneers here to help us get started. Not pioneers that you're, engaged in more risk-taking, just pioneers because we got to work it out in the way that the residents are going to be really fulfilled. But we will help you from the time in the application admissions process. We will facilitate you finding an apartment, meaning that we will be speaking to landlords in the Pico-Robertson area. We will be explaining what our program is. We will be kind of softening the way. But you will then go ahead and actually rent the apartment directly from the landlord. Most of the residents, prospective residents, will want a roommate. And boy, roommate matching, that's a pretty big deal. And we think that we can do that well. We'll do that, again, with involvement of the parents, of the individual, him or herself, and others who are relevant to their life. It'll be a process. The more people in the pool, the more opportunities to find good matches. So that's one of the reasons that our outreach is so important. But we'll help with that. And what is more satisfying, if you're 22 or 28 or 35, than having a really good roommate? I mean, that kind of... And on the other hand, if you have a really bad roommate, it can be problematic. We help them with the goals. I talked about the goal setting that we'll do. We are active in managing the third-party types of services. This lingo, I'm sure, is known to most of you. ILS, SLS, IHHS. We'll go into that. IHSS, we'll get to that later. We'll also be coordinating day-to-day activities. We'll be liaisoning with all different types of Jewish providers, synagogues of different types, community, JCC, community center, other types of activities, lectures, classes, and so forth. Again, our main point here is that the J-Chai residents will feel empowered. They will have a sense of control over their own lives. Next slide, please. Now this is one of about 4 or 5 kind of just typical schedules that we cooked up. So you may look at it and say it's not really the kind of schedule you were thinking of. It's just to show you that everyone will have a schedule. Now we will have individuals who are working and they go out from 9 to 5 every day, and they won't be having some things like travel training, money management, exercise program, and things like that. But we'll have other people where skill building is essential. I mean, skill building goes on for a very, very long time. I'm not even going to say how long. Maybe it goes on forever. But the goal is to constantly be looking at the opportunities for independence, how the person can learn skills, shopping, cooking, travel, communicating, phone, computer, and other life, quality of life kinds of things. And as Frida mentioned, it's very important to us, and I'm sure to you, that each and every resident is going to have opportunities to choose things in the evening to do. And one of the things that a lot of our special needs young adults and adults struggle with is planning or coming up with ideas. And we can help with that. We will help with that. We'll be very proactive in that regard. Next slide. Now you may be sitting here and saying, this is all kind of intriguing. I don't know if it really fits my kid or not. I think some of you are saying, well, it sounds fine, sounds possible. I don't really know exactly what they're talking about, but more or less sounds possible. Some of you maybe have already thought, well, this is a good fit, and some of you are, still trying to see if the fit is there. I just want to stress in this slide that we're talking about our understanding of having developed this model that most adults with special needs can participate in JCHI. Now, what their particular plan looks like is going to differ person to person. Some will receive independent living services, ILS, and that will be funded by regional centers. Some of you have that already, and that would continue. Some will have SLS, supported living services. That's another program of the regional center. That's what Mr. Istrin is here representing. His company, which is some company that has a long history of being involved with people with needs and special needs, will work with us on that. And some people will have in-home supportive services. And then some individuals in JCHI will not have any funded services by the regional center. It'll be completely a family, private pay kind of model. What I'm stressing here, and what the takeaway that I want to stress to you, is that we have looked at this upside, how do you say it? Up, down, and sideways. Our goal is that we have a model here that we think is flexible, that it can encompass a lot of different types of needs, a lot of different kinds of individuals, a lot of different ages, a lot of different challenges, and a lot of different pocketbooks. So we are hoping and we're encouraging you to follow up with us so that we can really sit down and talk in detail about your individual and unique situation. But most of all, what we have to do in this program, as we say in the box, is JCHI keeps the J in your adult child's chai. Right? So we are committed to having a Jewish opportunity for everyone.